Here we are over at Logical Reasoning drill set number 4 from lawhub.lsac.org. And we move on from number 3 to number 4. And we've got our highlight tool still ready to go. And we read the question stem for number 4 first, looking to mark and identify with that highlight tool what we're being asked to do. So number 4 reads, which one of the following is an assumption on which the argument depends? So when we're looking to identify an assumption, we need to read the paragraph on the left-hand side. We are going to highlight the conclusion after reading that paragraph in full. And if we have a relatively easy to understand scenario, we might want to try to predict something that must be true logically to believe whatever the conclusion is that was stated. So let's read the paragraph on the left next, keeping our highlight tool ready. The continued survival of endangered animal species requires the preservation of their threatened habitats, and this can be accomplished only through the development of economic benefits tied to the preservation of these habitats. Therefore, the development of new pharmaceutical drugs that come from products found in the world's rainforest can be an enormous aid to the survival of many endangered animal species. Now, sometimes the exam isn't trying to trick you, and immediately following a therefore at the end of a paragraph is your conclusion, and that is certainly the case here with this argument on the left. And you don't want to talk yourself into parsing statements that are presented as fact within the premises of the argument as whether or not they actually are true within real life. I don't want to decide whether the only way to protect these endangered animal species, threatened habitats, is actually through economic benefits. I want to just focus on this conclusion that by developing new pharmaceutical products from these rainforests, we're actually going to be able to keep these endangered animal species alive and allow them to survive. And we should think to ourselves, it is a real life scenario after all, that, wait a minute, we find that there are products in the rainforest that are going to help pharmaceuticals. And this is somehow going to protect the rainforest. But we might think to ourselves, well, I'm cutting down trees. Might I actually be harming the rainforest? So, what is necessary as an assumption for this, and I think is a relatively predictable one, is that we're not actually going to harm the rainforest when we are harvesting these products in the rainforests that are used in developing new pharmaceutical drugs. So we have that mental prediction as we go to our answer choices with the highlight tool ready to go of we need to make sure that the rainforest stays safe enough to actually allow it to remain a habitat for these endangered animal species. So reading choice A, most of the rainforest products from which pharmaceutical drugs are developed can be found in places other than rainforests. Okay, they can be found in places other than rainforests. Who cares? I need a bunch more information to relate this back to the rainforest argument and recommendation that was provided. So choice A needs additional information. We should be able to eliminate that almost immediately. Then choice B, some habitats of endangered animals are not located in rainforests. Okay, wonderful. Some habitats. Which habitats? We're only concerned with making sure that many endangered animal species survive. So these other habitats, I mean, that's incredibly vague. It needs a bunch of additional information to relate to the argument at hand. So we should be able to eliminate B almost immediately again. Then choice C, once a threatened habitat is preserved, all of the species that reside in it will survive. Well, the conclusion actually states explicitly many animal species will survive, not all. So we've got to parse those quantifiers very carefully, but all of the species does not match what was in our conclusion, so we can eliminate C for that reason. Then choice D, pharmaceutical drugs can sometimes be developed from the products of habitats without destroying the habitats. Now, we do like to say that some is a vague quantity very often. But when we're applying the negation test, we've got to recognize that some has a very stark negation. So let's just, in a different color, look at this sometimes and think about the technical opposing quantity of sometimes, which would be never. And if we considered the idea that pharmaceutical drugs can never be developed from the products of habitats without destroying the habitats, I don't believe this argument at all. So once again, you can see how a very quick negation test proves that choice D is absolutely a necessary assumption for this argument. But for the purposes of this video, we'll go back to our yellow and we'll find our reason to eliminate E, which reads, at least some companies that produce pharmaceutical drugs are not willing to devote significant resources to the development of new drugs. Significant resources. I mean, we know that we're going to develop them, but do we need significant resources? Again, this is a quantity that's not defined in the argument explicitly. I need new information for choice E. And of course, you probably selected choice D as a readily necessary assumption a little while ago. Thank you for watching this logical reasoning drill set number 4 explanation video from the content over at lawhub.lsac.org. If you enjoyed the tips it contained, please consider liking the video or subscribing to our channel so that you'll be notified when additional videos are produced by my guru. Also, check out the description below because in it you'll find additional links that will help you as you continue your LSAT journey, including links to full sets of full prep test explanations produced by my guru. And remember that while you're preparing for the LSAT, it's supposed to be hard.